भाइ धेरै भाउ नखाऊ आऊ भित्र ढल्न थाले बाटो ढल्न थाले खत्रै पोच्छु कि क्या हो दोर्याम यो टिभी भयो गाइज तपाईँ हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ यो टिभीमा मार्फत आज म फिफा वर्ल्ड कप पनि देखाउने गइरहेको छु है पछि राति आउनु होला रात तेरी जानत तूने क्या किया
Well, back this year, earlier this year in time
12 over 73 runs कुशलले हाफ सेन्चुरी हान्यो 41 बल 51 रन
just by watching him go about his business
30 मा 40 30 मा 14
should now be in a position to really start scoring big runs on the big stage.
Yeah, it should be.
Guys, हामी हेर्नु कुशल भुटेले कसरी हाने त हाफ सेन्चुरी तर म देखाउन सकिन है गाइस सरी I lost a proud feel, okay?
Samarova with a switch of ends from where he started. That's quick. Good pace past the outside edge of Ishan Pandey. Who seems to be getting all the good balls at the minute. I think Kushal Patel just be saying to him, just keep going. Time at the crease is what you need. Patel's taking on the run scoring, so Pandey doesn't really have to. Slashing cut shot past the diving fielder, Jonty Jenner, who this team will know is brilliant in the gully region. Just beyond this region, another boundary for Nepal. About a champagne, and every single one of those is going to give him confidence. 77 for 1 for Nepal.
Absolutely, I'm not sure where that aggression has come from.
Well, it feels like That's that one down. When your mate's going all guns blazing at the other end, making it look absolutely easy. How does it feel as a batter who's slightly searching for form?
I think the key thing here is, again, another little coaching tip for youngsters or anybody who's listening in. If you're struggling to have a little bit of form and you've got a guy at the other end who seems to be absolutely nailing everything and seems to be in position, rotating, striking, seems to be cashing in. I think your job is not to look for boundaries, your job is to look for singles and get the opposite person on strike as much as possible. You don't need to do anything flashy, anything out of the ordinary, anything that you're not comfortable with. Just find a single from somewhere. Over time, that will build your confidence up, and you will start striking the ball, confidently over time. But if you're struggling early doors, put the boundary option away unless it's really on offer, and find a single.
It's gone high up in the air. It might have gone all the way, but no, the fielder's underneath it. It's gone. Benjamin Ward with the catch, and that is a massive wicket for Jersey. It's brought a huge applause from the crowd here as the Nepal main man, straight off the back of a century, gets to 50 and gets dismissed. Bit of bounce from Pershad. Who would have thought that he'd be the man to bounce out Kushal Patel? 77 for 2, huge wicket.
Absolutely huge in the context of the game. The man in form, obviously hitting into the breeze, doesn't help. It's held up for an awfully long time. And more importantly, comfortable catch in the deep. Great wicket for Jersey, 77 for 2 of 13.1. Skipper breaks the shackles there, and Edwards taking the catch.
So Bim Sharkey's the new man. Good 39 yesterday. What was so impressive about Sharkey? What did he do well that might be important for Nepal?
Look to rotate the strike, did really well. Early doors, was busy at the crease, just towards the back end from what I can remember. Just tailed off and got a little bit under pressure. The danger is you don't continue to do that. With Ishan on the other side, 18 from 34, Bim really needs to get into the game and take some leadership. Interesting to see how well he strikes, how well he gets into a position.
Right then, Charles Bashar with the wicket. Benjamin Ward with the catch. Maybe it's not Benjamin Ward. We'll see on the scorecard a little bit later. And if we are wrong, I'm sure we can correct you a little bit later. So Bashar making a few changes, and it's game on. Sharky will look to rotate, look to stay busy. Champande now will be battling to keep the scoreboard ticking after he's lost his playing partner. Sharky defensive. I think what can happen now for Nepal is Bim Sharky, despite him being active, being positive at the crease, he did go through quite a long spell where he wasn't able to score. Ishan Pandey also at this current time is struggling to keep his rate up, struggling to score. And what we now could see is two Nepalese batters come in and maybe start to delay this chase. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The danger is you've got two batters who are very similar. I mean, Sharky straight away showed some intent to try and run a quick single. Single wasn't on, but the intent was there.
Edged off the outside half, the cut shot running down to third man. Now the fielder out there, who I thought was Benjamin Ward, is Dominic Blompe. So,
Taylor machine is the best machine of the oldies gold.
Mistaken identity. It's their caps. They've both got such aged jersey caps here. So similar numbers here. Anyway, Prashad set to continue. Pushing drive from Pandey. Isn't it funny how one player can just look so at ease and the other two really, really struggling out there? Bim's only had 4 balls, so I'm not saying he's really struggling, but Pandey does look to be a little bit in the mud at the current moment. But new bowler, Benjamin Ward, to come on. He was classed with a leg spin on Monday. Oh, very well.
Yeah, 2 things here, Charlie. One, Benjamin Ward has got a very distinctive beard, which I'm sure you've realised when you announced who the catcher was. And 2, I'm pretty sure if this is his approach to the game, that's completely fine, but he cannot put added pressure on from the opposite end.
Well, just at the start of this new over, we've been welcomed by a special guest, a Jersey legend, in fact. Welcome, Acer Tribe. Good to have you.
That's very kind. Thanks for having me, John.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Very good. Enjoyed the first half of my day with watching Jersey bat. And hopefully they can get over the line here.
Bit gutted you're not playing?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously nice to put a Jersey shirt on, isn't it? As always.
Well, shut up towards long on. Bim Sharky scampering away. Thought about it too, but just the single added. Talk to us about your relationship with Jersey and what it means to play for this team.
Yeah, it's obviously my home country. It's where I'm from. Always loved playing for Jersey and did that up until when I started playing for Glamorgan. And I really enjoy putting that jersey shirt on, as I mentioned before. And that's what I love playing for.
And this challenge for the Jersey boys, Nepal, I'm sure, again, a challenge you'd love to have been involved in, but what are the challenges this team face, and also, I assume the Jersey players would be thoroughly looking forward to challenge like this, right? To test themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, they could be a side we could be playing at the end of the year if results go our way. And look, some of the challenges I think we're looking at, obviously we haven't played a side like this before. That would be the first one. And then I'd probably look at the fact that their playing style is a bit different to ours. They kind of hit a bit more square of the wicket, seem to be quite aggressive against spin and other pace, whereas we kind of are a bit more English style, get ourselves in and then have a look. So yeah.
And your brother, Zach, in this side, has been in some pretty good form of late for Jersey. Got a good 50 today. What's it like playing alongside him at this level?
Yeah, it's brilliant, really. I can't complain at all, and that's part of the reason why I do like playing for Jersey. Playing with my brother is a great experience, and not everyone gets to do it, and I'm grateful for having that opportunity.
And just a question from my perspective, as a Jersey side, obviously so close to World Cup qualification earlier in the year, do you as a side really back yourselves to get into that position to be able to get to a World Cup and compete? Is that is the drinks 79 for 2 Nepal?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as we just missed out on net run rate at the most previous T20 World Cup qualifiers, that was a bit of a hammer blow, but I tell you what it did do for us is it made us realise how close we actually are. And look, the 50 over competition, look, we are a bit further away from that. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat that, but the T20, yeah, we're right in the mix for that, absolutely. Yeah. You see a side like Italy go there and they were able to pull off a nice win when they were at the World Cup, so I don't see why we couldn't get to a World Cup and really compete.
And Jersey not playing a huge amount of 50 over cricket at the minute. Why do you think that is? And as a side, moments like this to play 50 over cricket against teams like Nepal are a great experience. Do you kind of hope as a side you can play more?
Yeah, I think so. And look, I think the only way you're going to get better at that is by playing the 50 over cricket. So I think that's certainly something we'll strive to do more of. And as our cricket gets better and we try and get into World Cups, we'll get more funding, and that will allow us to play bilateral series against these kind of guys and really push our game.
तेरह मिनट पर 9 व्यूज तेरह मिनट पर 9 व्यूज
Going forward, and look, I hope in future, if we do get ODI status and things like that, we can have lads who are officially centrally contracted. And I'll play for Jersey up until that point, really. And look, the current ECB setup has allowed people like myself and other younger lads to really get pigeonholed into playing international cricket, which I think is a great thing, but also can be a little bit of a burden. So, yeah, I've got high aspirations to play for England, and look, whether that's sooner or later, who knows.
And before we move on to your England Lions stuff, how, in terms of you ended up getting your opportunity at Glamorgan, playing university cricket. Do you think that's a way in that almost doesn't happen as often? Do you feel like that should be a more common route in?
Yeah, look, I think the Cardiff UCC setup has actually produced quite a lot of Glamorgan cricketers. Of the current staff, I look at myself, Will Smale,
Yeah.
you've got Dan Douthwaite, you've got Andy Gorvin, so there's a few in there, and Tom Bevan, who's just been released, unfortunately. But yeah, it was creating quite a nice little pathway for people like myself to come through and sort of see that as an avenue, playing in professional cricket, and then once you're in professional cricket, that's about keeping yourself there, really.
Well, as Charles Bouchard gets things underway after the first drinks break, England Lions then. Talk about your experiences under the leadership of Freddie Flintoff, about the characters in that side. Playing for England Lions will come with its challenges.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
a quick single here, good running.
Yeah, I think, look, I've had a couple of experiences there now, and my first initial one was one where I was able to gel with the group first, with a couple of Loughborough tours, all kind of trips to Loughborough, before we actually went to Australia for a Red Bull kind of camp, before getting stuck in some matches out there. And obviously we were alongside the main side, kind of shadowing the test squad, so that was a great experience in itself. And yeah, being around other guys there who are super talented, just learning off them was super important for my own game to really kind of push myself forward there. And you see kind of how serious other guys are taking it there, and it really drives you forward as well to be the ultimate professional, really.
And being alongside a touring Ashes squad, it was that, I'm imagining, a pretty incredible experience to be out there at the same time. How much, I guess, collusion was there with the main men's side?
Yeah, there was a little bit of overlap, especially at the start when we were in Loughborough before we got to before we actually got to Australia, and then I think the first scheduled training session was supposed to be the whole group, Lions and test squad. Didn't end up being the case because apparently the wickets were wet, so didn't happen in that way, but I suppose that's probably a good thing, not having to face Jofra on a wet one. So take the small benefits there, I guess.
Well, we all know deep down on that, or at least hope, especially I imagine here in Jersey, the hope for you to eventually get that call up. But you're definitely a player of quality. I saw you at, I commentated on you actually at Glamorgan the other day against Warwickshire. Closed that game out nicely, 38 not out. 100 approaching. In terms of how you feel in the shorter formats compared to the longer form stuff, how do you feel like you are best placed to impact on sides like a Welsh Fire? Where do you see your role in that side?
Yeah, I'm looking at that squad, and the depth in batting is seriously talented, it's seriously good, and look, it's going to be tough for me to kind of get myself into that. But I suppose
just pulled away past the short fine leg. Benjamin Ward's diving in vain. It's another boundary that moves Nepal to 90 for 2, and Isham Pandey just starting to get into his rhythm. Good shot from him.
Yeah, as I touched on, because obviously it's going to be challenging. We've got a really strong batting line up there, and I think that was quite a clear tactic from the Welsh Fire management, right? Because they've gone heavy on batting this year and kind of then look to build the bowling. So look, I suppose we have a lot of lads competing for the top of the order, but I suppose my role in that might be sort of 4, 5, 6 kind of finisher role, like I started off with Morgan, and then kind of work my way in that way. And I hope that's the way I start off. If I don't start in the team, then yeah, maybe come in later on in the comp and try and hold my place that way.
And in terms of how that experience just off the pitch as well, being around such a strong squad, strong overseas, and also the likes of Phil Salt and Joe Root in that side, you must be seriously looking forward to the experience of getting to know those guys and learning from them. That's right.
Absolutely. And look, that won't just be for white ball cricket as well. There's no reason I can't speak to Joe about red ball test batting and stuff like that, and I don't see why I wouldn't, because that would be a perfect opportunity in my opinion. And yeah, learning off guys like Phil Salt, current England players, like super destructive, so yeah, why wouldn't I want to have these chats? I suppose the only thing I've got to manage is that I'm speaking to them about something other than cricket, so they don't get too bored. But yeah, absolutely.
It is tricky, isn't it? I imagine to when you speak to a legend who, let's be honest, that you've looked up to in the likes of Joe Root. When you come to have a normal conversation with these guys, I imagine it's pretty daunting.
It can seem, yeah, interesting, because I'm thinking a couple of years ago I'm watching these guys on telly, like superstars, and then I'm playing with them a couple of years later, so yeah, I completely get that feeling myself. How was that?
Big appeal for LBW, a couple of noises. Let's go back to this game then, ASAP. 280. How do you feel about that? Look at the target, the maths. 190 off 199 balls. Big wicket of Kushal Patel down. How do you think Jersey will be feeling out there?
Yeah, look, that's a massive wicket. Patel, he's obviously super important for their batting line up here, so glad we've got him out. I think we kind of thought maybe it was a fractionally under par. We saw 300 as maybe par.
Yeah.
Especially the position we were in, 150, 160 for one, right? So, yeah, look, haven't quite got as many as we wanted, but I think with the versatility of this squad, we've got plenty of bowling options, and Chuggy can just mix between those. Don't see any reason why we can't defend this.
Well, as Prashad starts you over, let's talk about him. Plenty of experience in the Jersey side. Just after this ball, it's played down towards third for an easy single for Sharky. What kind of challenges as a batter facing Prashad? What challenges does he bring?
Look, he's obviously quite skillful. He's not got pace, but he's got skill.
Yeah.
Just subtle variations with Chuggy, whether he's trying to bring his wrist across the ball just to try and get a little bit of hold out of the wicket, or he's trying to swing it in, or yeah, look, he's obviously, how many games he played? He's played heaps.